Let's look at question 3.2. In this question, we need a report for all the underperforming departments. So we need to display the report in the output component provided. So here's an example. We need to display a heading that says underperforming departments per week. And we need to get the average. We need to find the average that was obtained for that week. So if we have a list of values here for the week, we need to find the average for that week. So immediately you can see we need to come down a column as opposed to going across a row. So immediately the technique that comes to mind is that we need to swap our loops. So I need to find the average per week, and then once I've got the average, I've created a second array called ARR sales that I've declared, and I'm storing the averages. So this average array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's got 6 cells. It's called ARR sales. And sorry, not ARR sales, that's called ARR add. And that is the array. I'm calculating the average, and I am then storing it in this array so I can then compare it later on. So here is my nested loop. I start the C loop first, and then I run the I loop because I want to go down a column. And I set my sum to 0. I change my R loop. I accumulate my sales going down. And when that finishes, I work out the average for that column, and I store it in C. Remember, C would have been 1. So in the first cell, I got the average for week 1. I then go back up, C becomes 2, reset my sum to 0. I then work with the second column, I get the total sales. And when that loop finishes, I calculate the average for that column, and I store it in cell number 2. And that happens 6 times, where I get the average stored in this array for each of the weeks. Once I've got the averages stored, I then need the heading to be displayed. So that's the heading that they require me, underperforming departments per week. Again, I'm going to go down. I'm going to go and look at each figure. I'm going to look at each figure for that week and compare it against the average for week 1. And if the value is less than the average, then that is an underperforming department. So my loops, I start with the C loop first, and then I work with the R loop. Here I'm just displaying. They wanted a heading to say week 1 and average sale figures and print the average. So I am going to my array weeks that says week 1, go and C is 1, it's going to print cell number 1, average sales figures, and I'm going to the average array of the first cell and print the average we calculated in the segment above. And then the R loop is going to check the value in the 2D array. Remember the way we structured our loops, we are now coming down the columns, yes, we are going down 1 column, and we are checking it against the average in cell 1. Remember, C remains fixed. And RC is changing as we are going down. And every time it finds a value in the array less than the average, I am displaying that value. I'm displaying the department, and I'm displaying the sales figure, which has been converted to currency. And this just simply leaves a blank line so that when you start with the second, it's this blank line that's going to be created there, so that when I go into week 2, it leaves a blank line. So that is the coding that was required for question 3.2.